Hey guys, be sure to like and subscribe. Today we got a lot to talk about. I've been looking through all these videos lately because I've been watching these people talking about this new Visa Modernization Act going through in the Philippines, and that really doesn't have much to do with the visa on arrival that tourists get when they come here from most Western countries. And let me explain about this, why I think that they're wrong. Because a lot of people are going out there and they're willy-nilly throwing this out there that big changes are coming to tourist visas and everything like that. There's nothing out there yet that I've seen that proves that that's true. The Modernization Act is changing things like the 9A visa and a lot of other things, okay? It is changing the 9A. The 9A is really a tourist, it is a tourist visa for people that are coming over here for medical reasons. They're coming over here for business visas, maybe a convention, and also for like pleasure, okay? But these are people from, now this is where it starts getting a little funky, okay? There's countries that are restricted and non-restricted. Now the 9A visa is for both restricted and non-restricted countries, but it's really for restricted countries. And I want to get into this, what this means, okay? And then you'll start understanding what I'm talking about, because these people that are throwing this stuff out there willy-nilly are not taking into consideration the fact that there's restricted countries and unrestricted countries. And let me get into this. I'm going to use the United States as an example, and then we're going to switch to the Philippines. We're going to really simplify this and get it down to the bare bones so you guys can understand what I'm talking about. And then when you see what I'm talking about, you'll be like, oh yeah, he's right, you know, because this makes sense, okay? Hear me on this. Okay, the United States, okay, we are pretty much a kind of a closed country in a lot of ways to some countries, okay? And I'm going to get into this. We have two borders, okay? We have the Canadian border, we have the Mexican border, okay? Canadians can pretty much come into the country at free will. They just flash their passport. It used to be you could even flash your license and you could get in. Now you need to show at least a passport card. In the United States, if they want to go into Canada, they just flash a passport card, okay? But, okay, now the United States is funny because we have a lot of people in the United States that aren't American citizens. So guess what? If you don't have that U.S. passport card, you have to either get your passport stamped with a temporary visa or whatever to go into Canada. So it's different for you because guess what? You might be a restricted country, okay? The United States is an unrestricted country there. There's no restrictions going into Canada, except now there are a few because of the COVID stuff, which might have been taken off by now. I'm not quite sure about that because things are all over the place right now, all throughout the world, as we know. But as you know, if you were an American or a Canadian, going back and forth is pretty easy into the United States. It's basically, they have it kind of open because they're friends. They're not worried about an American going into Canada and then stealing from them or trying to get a job over there or something like that, because they're both kind of economically the same. So they don't worry about that. Now you look to the southern border, Mexico, totally different ball game, totally different. We worry about them coming into the United States, or we used to anyway, not as much, so much now. But they still block them at the border somewhat, you know. But what I'm saying is, like, if they show up at a border gate or something like that, and they try to come into the States, they're not going to just come over just because they have their passport. They actually have to go get a visa, okay? And they have to prove that they're going to go back to Mexico afterwards. They have to have like $10,000 in the bank or a certain amount of money in the bank, or they have to be a high-ranking official, or they have to somehow prove that they're going to go back to Mexico after their tourist visit to the United States. Now, if somebody from Iran, let's say, probably a restricted country, I'm not quite sure, I haven't looked, I'm pretty sure it is though, okay, but I'm going to use them as an example, shows up at an airport, they don't have a visa, okay, let's say they're a restricted country just for this video here. Now, they're going to get turned away and they're going to be sent back because guess what? They're afraid that they're going to come here either to stay or overstay their visa or whatever. And the same goes for the Philippines, because in the United States, The Filipinos are I'm not going to say lower class, a lower economic class. So a lot of them, they tend to overstay their tourist visas. So the United States is taking another look at that and says, you know, we can't really let these people just come in here because they're overstaying their visas and stuff like that. And the Filipinos are one of the top 5 groups of people that overstay their visas in the United States. So the United States has looked at that and kind of changed things a little bit not too long ago. Now that was when Trump was in there, okay? Now, I'm not saying I'm pro-Trump or anti-Trump. I'm just saying that it happened during that time, okay? So I don't want any political stuff on here. Anyway, now they stopped it. Now the reciprocal part of that is the United States. What the United States does, right, is the United States, the Philippines actually. Philippines lets the United States in here. They don't have to worry about us going back, pretty much. We don't overstay our visas too much, and if we do, we usually pay it and then we go home or whatever. Now, they've given us like 36 months on this visa that when you come here, they just stamp your visa on arrival. Now, some people call it the stamp, or some say it's not a visa. Technically, yeah, it's a visa on arrival. Okay, so let's call it what it is. It's a visa on arrival, all right? So what happens is they stamp you, and you're on your way, because we're unrestricted, okay? Now, if somebody from a restricted country comes in here, such as, I don't know, maybe one of the African countries, we'll say, okay? So one of the African countries, they show up here. They don't have a visa. They don't qualify for that special visa for certain countries, okay? So this is why I'm saying to you guys that you have to really look at the overall picture here. All countries have these restricted countries, unrestricted countries, and they have different rules for each of these countries. And these people that are talking about this are talking willy-nilly, saying, "Oh, they're going to get rid of the tourist visa. Hey guys, it's going to be gone. No, it's, you know, this the visa on arrival, it's going to be gone." You know, the 9A and the visa on arrival are 2 different birds. 2 different birds. They always have been. One time I called the embassy a long time ago, and this is a long time ago, and I don't know if things have changed or whatever. I'm talking a few years back. Okay, this is before I came here. I called up, and I was asking about the tourist visa, about coming in here. Okay, and I was telling them, you know, I want to go into the Philippines, and I wanted to wait for my SRRV. So I didn't know about how to come in here. I heard that you could just come in here, and it was, you know. So I asked the lady. I says, "Miss," I says, "can I apply for the 9A visa to go into the Philippines?" She goes, "Yes." But she goes, "Are you an American citizen?" And I says, "Yes." And she goes, "Well, you're unrestricted. You can go in on the visa on arrival." She goes, "That's basically for restricted people or people that are just going to come in short term or something like that. If you want to get your visa ahead of time, you can." But she goes, "It's basically for countries that are restricted countries. You know, like countries that, you know, that's why you need to apply." The United States and the Philippines has a really good relationship. The same with Canada, the UK, Australia. They have a really good relationship with those countries. They don't worry about those people going back for the most part. Do some people overstay their visas? Hell yeah, that's going to happen. Just like the Filipinos, some of the Filipinos in the United States, they overstay their visa, but there's a large quantity of them, and it kind of hurt them a little bit. Now, the United States, the Philippines is not going to take away that status of the US or the UK or Australia because it brings in a ton of money. I just don't think it's going to happen, okay? So these are the 2 things about restricted status and unrestricted. And that plays big into this tourist visa debacle that everybody's out there saying, "Oh, guess what? When we show up, guess what? They're not going to give you the visa on arrival anymore. That's going to be gone. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be gone." Let's not jump to conclusions until we get this stuff through and we hear from them. We're jumping to conclusions. Now, my disclaimer on this is this. I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's too early in the game for us to come out as vloggers and say, "Well, this is what's going to happen and that's what's going to happen." Let's not guess on this, because what's going to happen is we're going to turn off a lot of potential expats that want to come to the Philippines and stay here. I think as vloggers, we need to be responsible vloggers. And I'm not saying that I'm right or I'm wrong, but it is true about restricted visas and unrestricted visas. And if you look at the United States and you look at the Philippines and you look at other countries, they have statuses for countries. okay? And they change daily. A country over in Africa, for example, might have Ebola virus, so then they put a restriction on them. Or a lot of people from one country might be overstaying their visas, so they put a restriction on them. You follow what I'm saying? Most Americans, most people from the UK, most people from Canada, you don't have to worry about them going back. Although a lot of people come over here and they've been using those they've been using those tourist visas as resident visas, and we shouldn't do that. And that's why I've been telling people SRRV visas are the way to go. If you're coming over here to get married, hell yeah, use the tourist visa or visa on arrival, okay? Because either one of them will get you in here. But the 9A visa is really for restricted countries. That's what it's really meant for. But yes, as an unrestricted country, you can still apply for it because it's the law, okay? It's the law. It's the Philippine law. But people are getting messed up on this and they're jumping to conclusions. Now I'm hoping there's not going to be any changes. I'm not going to jump out there and say, oh yeah, they're going to get rid of visa on arrival. I'm not going to jump to that and say that, because everything that people have sent me so far, there is nothing out there saying that they're getting rid of that. Not one thing that people have sent me that was supposedly supposed to be proof and stuff like that. It's not proof that this is happening. It's not. Okay? Think about what I just said. This is just a Modernization Act. They split up the 9A into business, pleasure, and for medical. Okay, those three things. Okay? I don't even really need to get into it. They're pretty much self-explanatory. Okay? Now, we have a couple of vloggers out there, and one should know better. The other one is from the Philippines, and I'm not sure she's that knowledgeable. I have some people writing to me saying that these two vloggers are very knowledgeable vloggers. I tend to disagree with you. And I'm not going to mention their names because I don't want to get into a pissing match with people and you know, them say I'm wrong or they're right. I don't care. I think it's too early in the game to say who's wrong or who's right. Okay? What I'm saying is we need to stop, think, take a deep breath, wait a little while, see what happens, see how this plays out. I do not think that they're going to touch the visa on arrival for U.S. citizens, Canadian citizens, UK, Australia, and whatever other countries are on that list. Okay? Remember, there's restricted countries and there's unrestricted countries. Okay? And the U.S. right now is an unrestricted country. There's no restrictions except for probably COVID restrictions right now, and that's about it. And the COVID thing is definitely throwing a wrench in the engine here and changing a few things here. But if and when we get back to normal, I do not think that those things are going to be taken away. I think this is just a minor tweak. Now, could I be wrong? Remember what I said. I said, let's wait, take a deep breath, and wait till this all plays out. These are just my thoughts, okay? This isn't written in stone or anything because I can't predict what they're going to do. But I have seen nothing yet, again, nothing that says that the Philippines is going to take away the visa on arrival for all those people that are on that unrestricted list, okay? Now that's, I had to say that because about the restricted and unrestricted, because that plays into this bill. It's something that they don't talk about in the bill, but it's there, okay? And those things change daily, so you can't put that in the bill. That's why that's not in the bill. So for these people that are doing all this guesswork and playing armchair lawyers, visa lawyers and stuff like that, stop. Please, stop. You know, we really have to be responsible vloggers, okay? Let's be responsible. You know, look around you and say, say, well, is this safe to say this? I've been holding off on this for a long time. And I held off until I saw these people sending me this stuff and sending me all these things saying that, hey, Steve, is that true that the visa on arrival for the tourist visa on arrival is going to go away for U.S. citizens and for Canadian citizens and for people from the UK? I had seen nothing. I went looking for it, couldn't find nothing. And then people started throwing at me the Visa Modernization Act. I was like, wait, this has nothing to do with any of this stuff. I saw nothing in there. If somebody can see something in there, please send it to me, because there's nothing. I believe there's nothing in there for the tourists on arrival. You know, that's kind of like a courtesy to the U.S. for being a good friend. That's why we're unrestricted. You know, I mean, you have to. Countries look at each other different. The United States sends a lot of money to countries, so they give them like an unrestricted visa where they can just show up and get their visa, you know, as soon as they show up at the gates. A lot of countries do that, but the United States can't let them in sometimes because their people are poor or poverty-stricken or whatever, and if they give them a tourist visa, they're just going to come over and overstay their visa and just stay there permanently and become an illegal alien. And those countries realize that, okay? So what the United States does is we basically throw them help, you know, in the ways of financial help, military help, or whatever, okay? To kind of make up the difference. You know, we try to help these countries and help them grow and to become better countries, okay? And we've been doing that all along with the Philippines, helping them militarily and helping them right now militarily. You know, and granted, we have our political differences with the Philippines. I mean, we can just say that out loud because it's kind of open now, you know, but that's bound to change sooner or later with you know, political elections here and things like that. But guys, again, let's not get confused on this. Okay, guys? God bless. Take care. And remember what I said. This is not written in stone. And my disclaimer is, I don't know what's going to happen. Could it change? Yes, it very well could. Is it likely to change? No, it's not. Okay? So for those vloggers out there, beware. And remember what I said. Could I be wrong? Yes. You know? But at least I'm putting it out there that I could be wrong. But to go out there and say that it's probably going to happen, I think is being irresponsible. God bless, guys. Take care. And peace to you guys, you other vloggers out there. I don't want to cause a major issue here, you know? I'm just stating my thoughts. Okay, guys? God bless. Take care.